Hello friends, welcome to this Tech Tips again. In previous video, you have learned what is Spring Boot and its feature of Spring Boot. In this video, you will learn the advantages of Spring Boot and the differences between Spring and Spring Boot. Also, we will cover the main difference between what is the difference between Spring MVC and Spring Boot. So this is also a short video, but this video is needed for the interview purpose, as a lot of many questions arise from about Spring Boot, about the Spring Boot advantages and differences between Spring and Spring Boot. So let's go to further and let's have a look on the advantages of Spring Boot. First, it is very easy to develop Spring based application with Java. It reduces lot of development time and increases productivity. It avoids writing lots of boilerplate codes, annotation and XML configuration. It is very easy to integrate Spring Boot application with its Spring ecosystem like Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, Spring Data, Spring Security, etc. It follows the opinionated default configuration approach to reducing developer effort. It provides embedded HTTP server like Tomcat, JT, etc. to develop and test our web application very easily. It provides CLI tool to develop and test Spring Boot application from command prompt very easily and quickly. It provides lot of plugins to develop and test Spring Boot application very easy using build tools like Maven and Gradle. It provides lot of plugins to work with embedded and in-memory database very easily. These are main advantages of Spring Boot. Many interviewers are asked about the Spring Boot advantages over the Spring, so you can tell about them. Now we will go through the what is Spring and what is Spring Boot. As I said previously, Spring framework is the most popular application developed framework of Java. The main feature of the Spring framework is dependency injection or inversion of control. With the help of Spring framework, we can develop a loosely coupled application. It is better to use if application type of characters are purely defined. In Spring Boot is a module of Spring framework. It allows us to build a standalone application with minimal of zero configuration. It is better to use if we want to develop a simple Spring based application or RESTful services. The primary comparison between Spring and Spring Boot are discussed below. So let's have a look in Spring and Spring Boot differences. Spring framework is widely used Java EE framework for building application. Spring Boot framework is widely used to develop REST APIs. It aims to simplify Java EE development that makes developer more productive. Spring Boot, it aims to shorten the code length and provide the easiest way to develop web application. The primary feature of the Spring framework is dependency injection. The primary feature of Spring Boot is auto configuration. It automatically configures the classes based on the requirement. Spring, it helps to make these things simpler by allowing us to develop loosely coupled application. Spring Boot, it helps to create a standalone application with less configuration. Spring, the developer writes a lot of code to do the minimal tasks. Spring Boot, it reduces boilerplate code. Spring, to test the Spring project, we need to set up the server explicitly. Spring Boot offers embedded servers such as JT and Tomcat, etc. Spring, it does not provide support for an in-memory database. Spring Boot, it offers several plugins for working with an embedded and in-memory database such as H2. Spring, developers manually define dependencies for the Spring project in pom.xml. In Spring Boot comes with the concept of starter in the pom.xml file that internally takes care of downloading the dependencies jars based on Spring Boot requirement. Now you have understand what is the main differences between Spring and Spring Boot. Now let's have a look on Spring Boot and Spring MVC. What is Spring Boot? Spring Boot makes it easy to quickly bootstrap and start developing a Spring based application. It avoids a lot of boilerplate code. It hides a lot of complexity behind the scene so that the developer can quickly get started and develop Spring-based application easily. Spring MVC is a web MVC framework for building a web application. It contains a lot of configuration files for variant capabilities. It is an HTTP-oriented web application development framework. Spring Boot and Spring MVC exist for different purposes. The primary comparison between Spring Boot and Spring MVC are discussed below. Spring Boot and versus Spring MVC. Spring Boot is a module of Spring for packaging the Spring-based application with sensible defaults. Spring MVC, a model view controller-based web framework under the Spring framework. It provides default configuration to the build Spring-powered framework. It provides ready-to-use feature for building a web application. There is no need to build the configuration manually. It requires build configuration manually. There is no requirement for a development descriptor. A development descriptor is required. It avoids boilerplate code and wraps dependencies together in single unit. It specifies each dependency separately. It reduces development time and increases productivity. It takes more time to achieve the same. In this video, we have gone through both the Spring and Spring Boot differences and as well as Spring MVC and Spring Boot differences. Now you are able to answer all the interview questions regarding the advantages and features of Spring Boot as well as the differences you asked for. Thank you for watching this video. In next lecture, we will go through how to create a Spring Boot project with Spring initializers. Thank you.